In that case, we will begin right now. Now, because I haven't put a video out today, then there may not be people waiting in the chat for us already, but Callum, your community knows that this is about to kick off, doesn't it? And
they do. I've just added everybody, which I'm sure they're very pleased about.
Brilliant. And Billy, I'm sure you've mentioned it. I saw you tweet it out as well earlier, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I've already annoyed everyone.
Right, well, we'll make a start because this is going to be uploaded to the Tangent Tavern channel that Callum runs anyway, so people will be able to come back and relive what I hope will be a glorious few hours on the internet. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to everyone. This is the Tangent Tavern. I am Josh Strife Hayes.
I am Callum Upton.
And today we're joined by a very special guest, Billietrixx. Thank you very much for agreeing to join us.
You're welcome. They totally didn't hold me hostage to do this.
We didn't. We didn't. We almost didn't have to kidnap her. She almost agreed to do this. So, Billy, it's highly likely a lot of our viewers are going to know who you are or have watched some of your stuff, but for anyone who might not, could you just give a bit of background on who you are, what you do, and the kind of things that you're into?
Yeah, so hi everybody. I am Billy. I love The Witcher. I don't know if you can tell. So I spent a lot of my time playing RPG games. I've recently, in the past couple of years, got into D&D really heavily. I love plants, technology, and I stream on Twitch. I also make silly TikTok videos as well, which I can't help. You know, millennial trying to be a Gen Z, or whichever way around that is.
Yeah, that's fine. We're boomers, so we're just going to sit here shaking our fists at the sky and not understanding your new technology. But I'm glad that you understand how TikTok works. Callum, let's start in the traditional way. How have you been?
I've been pretty good actually. I've had a pretty chill week. I did Electrix for the first time and nearly killed myself.
Oh, sweet! I'm glad you didn't kill yourself.
Yeah, and me. I was changing my nan's, like pull cord light in the bathroom, and I said to her, I was like, "Can you flick the the circuit off downstairs?" Now, she mistook that as, "Can you turn the circuit off for downstairs?" And so I'm there with two wires, like trying to change this plug, and I hear a buzzing, like a very subtle buzzing as I'm touching the wires, and I was like, "If you turn that circuit off." So she comes upstairs, turns the landing light on. I'm like, "So no, you haven't." And she goes, "I turned it off downstairs like you asked." Right,
so she turned the downstairs breakers and system off. She didn't turn off...
And I'm just there holding two wires, like apart with a finger.
The bit that you worked for. Brilliant. Well, I'm glad that you didn't die, Cal.
And me, actually. Surprisingly, I'm quite happy.
My favourite things to happen this week, you not dying, is definitely up there in the top 10. Billy, do you have any stories of, life and death that's happened over the last week?
No, I have been very safe and not trying to murder myself with electronics. So
good choice. Good choice.
Okay, definitely don't ask you to fix a light bulb.
No. Or do.
I'm trained now. I'm trained now.
Billy, it's actually been your birthday recently, hasn't it?
It has.
Did you get anything nice for your birthday?
Do you know what? I got myself something nice not that long ago. I bought myself a Witcher sword, and so kind of that was like my kind of pre-birthday gift.
Do you have it with you now?
It's just behind me on the floor. Do you want to see it?
Can you show us the Witcher sword? I think everyone is going to want to see the Witcher sword.
You can't mention it then not show it.
Yeah, you can't just say that you've got you can't say you've got a cool thing and not show us the cool thing. Oh damn! You actually do. Okay.
Yeah, I'm 5'8", so it comes up to here on me.
Holy wow! Okay.
Oh wow!
It has a really cool engraving on it.
I can see.
Yeah.
Right, that's
amazing.
Oh
that's like a proper thing, isn't it?
Hold on, I'm dangerous. I've been told off on stream before because I broke my lights last time I got this out.
Okay.
So they don't like it when I get my sword out. So.
Right. I mean, me and Cal have a similar issue, but we get banned when we get our swords
out.
Oh.
Yeah, if I get my sword out on Twitch, I don't think Twitch is going to pay me ever again.
No, we need to respond to the OnlyFans emails for that, don't we?
I was just going to say, but it's okay because OnlyFans is willing to accommodate our sword.
They've got us. They've got us covered. They know exactly what we're going to do with that.
There's a platform for everything.
There is. There really is. So, Billy, the way that I got to meet you was quite interesting. It's a nice series of events. I saw a tweet from Rage Darling many months ago asking to talk about stuff. I got chatting to her. She introduced me to Chris over at Insomnia. And when we were planning this Go to Insomnia thing, which I'd love to talk to you about in a second, Insomnia wants to host a Dungeons & Dragons game. and I'll be DMing the game, and I want Callum to be involved with the game because I know Cal's good at improvising, and we put a general question out, hey, who would like to play D&D with us? Who's good at D&D? And your name came up so many times. You had so many recommendations. Could you tell us?
What's really funny?
Oh, yeah.
Who's good at D&D? Not one person in my community would go, yes, Billy. But I love that. I love that other people are clearly seeing that and going, yeah, she'll be good at D&D. Yeah, like I said, like over the past like 2 years, especially, I've just kind of really fallen in love with the game, and it's just been something that I'm like, right, this year I'm just doing all of the D&D as much as I can, like, so I'm just like super psyched to kind of do this.
Excellent. This sounds good. Would you like to tell us what kind of D&D games you've run, what you've been involved in, whether you prefer being a DM or a player? Give us a bit of history. Who is Billietrixx in the D&D universe?
So I have never been a DM, and I feel like there's a lot of players who are also in the same position. You know, always a player, never a DM, and then the opposite way around. I know that some of you guys are DMs and never players. Sorry, but yeah, I've had a lot of kind of like really local games. Like even my neighbours was like one of my first games ever. I just found out that they liked D&D, and they were like, "Oh, do you want to come over?" And it was like my first in-person one, which is really cool. And I have more of a long ongoing game that's been going on online, which kind of started over lockdown, which is really cool. Because I kind of like kept that connection with people. And I've been a couple of different characters over the time, but definitely my favorite one is my current character, which is in my long campaign. I am the most basic human you can think of, but he's hot. He is hot, and he has an icy sword, and he can kill a dragon. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. I feel like everyone always passes on the basic humans, so I wanted to just...
It's like going back to the foundations, isn't it? Going back to basics and really establishing, you know, a solid human fighter. I like that.
Yes.
Cal, you haven't had too much experience with D&D, have you, Callum?
No, I hadn't played it until we did a quick introduction. Other than that, I've watched Critical Role, which is my only experience with D&D.
Which was actually what helped you come up with a fantastic name for what we will be calling the D&D event at Insomnia, isn't it? What are we calling it, Callum?
So it's a team of British people, so we are Britical Role.
We are calling it Britical Role. I'm waiting every day for Matt Mercer to come and sue us. Every day.
And me.
I'm looking forward to it every single day. But
I feel like it's a British love letter.
Yeah, it is.
Isn't it?
It's a love letter to it. It's a Britical Role. It will be on the second stage. It will be at Insomnia. Billy, have you been to Insomnia before?
I have. I used to go to Insomnia since the anniversary, which was like I-50, which maybe was like 10 or so years ago now. So I went to a lot of Insomnias, and then I kind of like stopped going for a while. So this is like really exciting for me to finally come back and see how it's changed and all of this kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm super excited.
Oh, Callum and myself haven't been before, so what's it like, Billy? Well, give us a breakdown of what we can expect at a regular Insomnia.
It's pretty, I would say, mental in a way, because you go depending on like how you go, because there's obviously different sorts of ticket types. There's like cosplay there's kind of like more of a kind of spectator, like you're walking around and there's like obviously really cool stalls and games to play, tabletop section, all of this. But there's also like a whole different area, which is the BYOC, which is where you bring your own computer, and there's like just thousands, hundreds of people, I don't know how many people they've got nowadays, like turning up with their PCs in the back of their cars, ready to just like jump onto a game of whatever people are kind of playing at the moment. So it's just really, really cool to kind of see that LAN environment, but also like if you just want to go for a weekend, you can, and you can have lots of fun and meet friends and see cosplay and do games and tabletop. It's just like there's just loads to do, and it's also really just great for hanging out with your mates that you don't maybe see very often, because if they're scattered about the UK, which a lot of people are.
Just geek culture. Everyone gets to hang out together. Gamers hanging out with gamers. We get to eat gamer food. We get to drink gamer drinks. And then we get to wake up feeling really ill because no one should ever eat gamer food or drink gamer drinks.
It's just non-stop G fuel.
It is just... I'm not even going to mix it with water. I'm just going to snort the powder. Just going to just get a huge... Just empty a tub onto my face. That's all I need to do for that. So we're going to be hanging out in the hotel before, hanging out after, meeting all the people at Insomnia. Callum, is there anything that you're looking forward to at Insomnia?
Ooh, nothing in particular. I'm guessing that there'll be some of the PC companies there, like Gigabyte or I guess Razer. Do Razer go?
Are you going to try and ask for some free stuff? Is that the plan?
I'm going to try and get a picture with the CEO of Razer because he's a cool dude.
Sweet. Let's see if we can get that. Does he glow green? I just assumed that he would because everything Razer glows green, don't they?
Yeah, he's definitely got some like RGB backlighting on him.
Yeah, I mean, my mouse is a Razer mouse, and that glows green. Everything
got
just
the same one as me.
Is it the one with the buttons on the side?
Naga.
Yeah, yeah. There we go. Billy, do you have a cool mouse with buttons on it?
I do, but mine is Logitech. I'm a Logitech girl. Sorry,
Wow.
Razer.
Okay, the battle lines have been drawn. So, allow us to explain what this podcast is going to be. At Insomnia, there is going to be a live Dungeons and Dragons game. I will be Dungeon Master. Billy will be involved, Callum will be involved, and Rage Darling will also be involved. But Rage Darling is snowboarding right now. Have either of you seen her tweets about it?
I have, yeah.
She's just,
so cool.
She's buggered
living
off
her
and
best
she's snowboarding.
life.
I know, it's ridiculous. Did you know that a few days ago she was making a snowboard kind of place on The Sims? I don't know if any of you saw that on her Twitch. Yeah, and now she's just off there. What a life.
To be honest,
kind of like 3D printing a holiday,
it
but
is, isn't it?
Oh my god, it is. To be honest, if I was offered the choice between being on Tangent Tavern or being snowboarding right now, I'm sorry, but I'd have to go with snowboarding.
I think one day when we're all ridiculously rich, we will host a Tangent Tavern from some kind of ski lodge somewhere in the Alps. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Guys, you heard it here first. People are asking, is it going to be 5th edition D&D? Right, allow me to explain. What we're going to do this podcast is I'm actually going to run an improvised Dungeons & Dragons game for Billy and for Callum. The two guys are going to work together to take on the challenges that I throw at them. They do not know what I've got planned. And the reason they don't know that is because I don't know what I've got planned. I'm working off your suggestions, guys. If you're in the chat right now, you're about to build a D&D game with me. Here we go. The most important part of the Dungeons & Dragons experience is a 20-sided dice. Callum, do you happen to have a 20-sided dice with you?
Good question. I think it's behind my monitor.
Billy, do you happen to have a 20-sided dice with you?
I do. I got some new dice for my birthday, actually.
Oh, did you? Have you got them with you?
I do.
Right, let me...
It's really hard to show dice, but here you go.
It is.
Yeah,
no, that's good.
See, I've got mine ready to present. Mine look beautiful.
And I've just got a bag of all of the dice. All the dice. There we go.
You've got a mishmash.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you guys have all got these kind of lovely matching dice, and I've just got like random colours that I bought from a toy shop.
You've got Monopoly die.
I do. I do have Monopoly dice. So here's how it's going to work. I won't be worrying about stuff like the main attributes, strength, intelligence, charisma, dexterity, that kind of stuff. Instead, what we'll be doing is I'll be presenting you with opportunities and challenges and fights, and you will describe what you want to happen, and then we will roll a d20, and the higher the result, the more positive the outcome is for you. If you get a 20, it's known as a critical success. If you get a 1, it's known as a critical fail. And then we'll work on that. Now, your characters can't die, but they can and probably will be gravely injured at some point. So I'm going to start off with a really simple, really basic, really easy Dungeons & Dragons adventure, a classic, if you will, called The Tomb of Horrors. It's a nice, simple one. If you've played D&D before, you know kind of what we're going into now. It's nice and simple. Callum, your character is standing outside of a cave looking at this big cut-out door entrance. Could you please describe who your character is? Now, this doesn't need to be the same character as Insomnia. You can make a brand new person right now. Do you want a moment to think about who you're going to play?
Okay, I am a dwarf archer.
A dwarf archer. I'm going to write some of these things down because I'm going to refer to them later like a proper DM would do. And your dwarf archer, does your dwarf archer have a very dwarven name? A strong, powerful dwarven name?
Ooh. He does. I'm just Googling dwarven names.
That's fine. Okay, so he's just remembering his name. Billy.
Yeah.
You're standing outside this tomb entrance as well, this big carved stone doorway. Billy, who are you?
My name is Groon. I am an elven barbarian. I have absolutely huge muscles. I definitely work out. There is like that nice oily look to my skin. You know?
Like Vin Diesel.
Groon. G-R. How am I spelling
I'm all
Groon?
oily. G-R-U-N. Groone.
Groon,
And
the oily elf.
the oily elf. And I have absolutely huge fists. I'm thinking, I can't think of that character from Overwatch, but that guy.
Doomfist.
Yes!
Excellent. So you are an oily elven barbarian. And Cal, have you remembered your own name yet?
Yes, so the first result that came up, I'm obviously not going with because I should have seen it coming, Gimli. So it's Donin, Donin.
Donin, and you are a dwarven archer.
Yeah.
Let me just write these down. Dwarven, because it's going to be relevant. The dwarven archer Donin. I might even put them on the screen at some point later. Cal, you've been... Sorry, Donin. You've been a dwarven archer for a while now, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
But archery is not exactly a very respected and a prestigious career among the dwarves. You've had a hard time learning the skill of archery, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Why don't you tell us what trials and tribulations you've faced in your life?
Well, for starters, I was outcast by my people for wanting to be an archer.
What did you
we
say
normally
to them?
just... Well, I told them that, Mom, look, Mom, this is my choice. It's my life. I need to live my own life.
How old were you? Because you were arguing with your mum about your career at this point.
42.
Brilliant. So Donin, 42 years old, was having an argument with his mum about his career. Were you still living at home at the time?
Yes.
Okay, so things weren't going super great for Donin.
Not really, no. They normally just like to throw things rather than use bow and arrow.
Right, so most dwarven archers just lob the arrows really hard.
Yeah, maybe a sling. Maybe a slingshot if you're lucky, if they're feeling fancy.
But what was different about you? Why were you attracted to archery?
I grew up absolutely obsessed with the elves, who are very well known for their archery skills.
And their oil, apparently.
And their oil. I've heard they're very oily.
They are. They're super slippy.
Like a
Yeah.
snail.
Like, oh no. Yeah, so, and I just wanted to be like them, minus the oil.
So you looked at an elf and you went,
Yeah.
that but dry.
Exactly.
That
like
was-
I do with most of my food. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So I see that Donin wanted to be an elf without the oil. And Groon, the elven barbarian. How are things?
They're all right.
Would
Thanks
you
for asking.
Would you like to tell me of your history? Where do you come from, Groon?
So I come from a pretty kind of average kind of background. Went to a good school, but wasn't really that good with words or like kind of executing how I was feeling, and would just take my anger out on a lot of people. So yeah, that's just kind of how I ended up. Just started punching my way through life, basically, because I couldn't really get the words out that I wanted.
When did the punching begin, Groon?
Oh, at least 4.
Right,
You know,
so
I've got a brother right in the face. He took
So
my toy,
you were
wasn't
4
happening.
You were 4 years old. You were in kindergarten or preschool or nursery. You were putting a jigsaw puzzle together. You couldn't find one of the corner pieces, which was challenging because it was just a 4-piece jigsaw. Your solution, just punch the teacher.
How dare she give me something that I can't complete? It's just rude.
To be fair, you completed that jigsaw in about 2 months, and on the box it does say 1 to 3 years. So you were actually ahead of schedule on that. Thank you, everyone who just subscribed from that joke. And what has brought you here now? What series of events in your life have led you from punching a teacher for not being able to solve a jigsaw puzzle to standing outside the Tomb of Horrors with Donin the Dry Dwarf?
Well, we're kind of around the same places. I am 32, so I'm a little bit younger. And because of that, obviously, I am very attractive to Donin because, you know, he likes an elf, although I'm not an archer. I had very, very good friends with archers. You know, he kind of wanted to get in on that. But unfortunately, it didn't really work out that way. So he ended up just hanging out with me, and we just didn't really have any other friends, to be honest. And we was like, oh, heck it, I guess we'll just go on a walk. And then we ended up here somehow.
Was it because, Donin, you approached Groon and she punched you, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. I didn't even get a word out before being punched.
The intake of breath for the word high, as soon as you breathed in, it was just bam, right in the face. Really hard, wasn't it?
Straight out cold, yeah.
And
that's how my friends. But I did buy him a beer.
You did.
She did.
And when you were in that bar buying the beer, you were approached, weren't you, by a hooded man. Do you remember how the conversation went?
I was smashed.
You were smashed. It's okay. I'll recreate it for you. The hooded man shuffled up to you while you were sat at the bar. And he looked up to you. He removed his hood. He leaned in close and he said, "Hello." And what did you say?
You're right, mate.
You did. But what did you do, Groon? Because your response was different, wasn't it?
Well, I was trying to not get involved for a second because, Doran's been telling me off for punching everyone that we meet, so I kept quiet.
It is becoming a problem, yeah.
And the man shuffled even closer and said, "I see you two look like capable adventurers. Would you care to embark on an adventure?"
Hell yeah. Got nothing better to do.
What's the price?
The price is untold riches, treasures at the back of a tomb.
We're not talking bones here, are we? I'm not interested in no bones.
Some people would consider a good bone a reward for an adventure. Grow up.
Getting funny ideas.
He just stares. He stares at Donin. He doesn't know why you're giggling. The man doesn't understand innuendo at all. Eventually, he takes out a map of the local area and points to a mountain and says, "Inside this mountain, there is a tomb. And if you can breach the outside, conquer the defenses, you can take all the treasure you find inside. Although some say the real treasure are the friends we made along the way."
Punch him in the face.
You want to punch him in the face?
I don't think that's going to go well.
Roll a d20.
Only lightly.
No, you're going to commit to this punch.
Flick him on the nose.
11. Cal, would you roll a d20 as well, please? I want to. This is your dodge.
3.
The hooded man leans forward. The true treasure is friendship. Groon, you pull your fist back to go and properly lamp this guy in the face. As soon as that happens, Donin thinks, you know what, maybe this is a good idea, and leans in and turns to talk to Groon. And as you turn to talk, a fist, bang, straight in your face. Cal, roll a d20. How much damage you take?
Oh, 1. That's good.
That is good. 1. You've got a very hard face. You know, your face has been broken many times from your life.
It's that dry. It's more likely to crack than it is break.
It is. It absorbed the oil from the fist. It was super dry. The nose didn't even break. There was a crack and a crunch, but you're okay. In fact, it actually hurt your fist a bit, didn't it, Groon?
It did. It did hurt. Mostly because I was going for something a bit different and it kind of ended up a weird way. You know, like when you step off a pavement a bit funny and then your ankle goes what's that about?
It was like that, but with a wrist, wasn't it?
Exactly.
So we're off to a good start. A man has given you a map and in response you've decided to punch Donan in the face. That's 1 for the punch in the face count. But after discussing with this crazy, strange, weird man, you decided that maybe going to this tomb, maybe exploring this dungeon was a good idea. But you had to get supplies first. Didn't you? Because, Donan, you've had adventures before, haven't you?
I have. I've had plenty of adventures.
Why don't you regale us with a tale of a time and adventure that you were on went very wrong?
Yeah, so I had an adventure out to an enchanted forest because there was some special mushrooms that I was required to bring back. There was a good bounty on them. And I was out with another dwarven friend who I was training to also be an archer. Mom wasn't happy about that either.
Did you have a thing, like a type, when you were a kid? It was just always archers. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, absolutely. If I'm not in the company of archers, well, actually, it normally goes better. But you'll find out why in a second.
Okay.
So we were roaming into the enchanted forest. I'd found the mushrooms, and before I turned around to say to my friend, just hang back a minute, he ran full force straight into a ditch and got eaten by a big Venus flytrap.
I mean, we've all been there.
If I had a pound for every time.
Man, you'd have £2.
I would.
Which isn't much, but it is strange that it happened twice.
Yeah, it is.
Was it the same Venus flytrap that ate your first friend?
I think it probably was. That's why I sort of knew it was there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it didn't go so well the second time either.
Were you going to tell him, don't run forward because there's a Venus flytrap that ate my old friend? And as you were telling him that...
Yeah, it was kind of like, just turn to the side. He's not there. Turn back the other way, and he's already run.
He's already dead.
Gone.
And he's straight away.
Yeah.
Did you try and get revenge on the Venus flytrap?
No, I just went home and told them I've got the mushrooms.
Did you have the mushrooms?
Yeah, I walked around the pit and picked them up.
So the adventure actually only had one potential failure, which was someone walking into the giant man-eating Venus flytrap.
Yeah, aside from that, it went flawlessly.
And you've been on that adventure twice.
Yeah.
And the bad thing happened both times.
Yeah, I critical fail on pretty much everything.
I've just got to say, the only constant here, Donin, is you.
Yeah, and I mean, I made it out alive, so
you were great.
I'm good to bring along.
Now, Groon, you are no stranger to adventure, are you?
No, but normally my adventures accompany a tankard of ale and, well, some of my elven friends from back in my town.
I see. So why don't you give us a tale of the old times? Why don't you regale us with a tale of daring do from an adventure that you've been on before?
Well, there was this one time. Obviously, me and Kima were getting absolutely steaming. I think we woke up about 3 hours later. It was pretty dark, but starting to become morning. I thought, okay, well, it can't get any worse than this. It's just another night out on the town. Turns out, the back of the wagon that we apparently were on was in the middle of a lake. There was some fish trying to eat my toes that were dangling in, and I'd lost pretty much everything except for my clothes off my back. It was not a good time.
Right, that's not a good adventure.
It was not.
Great
I can't
adventure.
say that I've had any good adventures other than, well, a couple of successful nights gambling.
So you decided to be a barbarian when you were young, weren't you? Because normally elves are slender, sleek, fair, beautiful, all that kind of archery and flowing gowns. But you didn't go that way, did you?
Do you know what? It just never was for me. I was always just more of a leather and, push-ups and, CrossFit kind of person. So
CrossFit. Yes, I see. So what armour do you wear now? Because you eschewed the flowery robes of the elves a long time ago, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm more of a, pant leg kind of person now.
Gotcha.
We've got some nice, comfy pant legs. You got to be comfortable. You got to be able to move. You got to be able to get into different positions. And some, it's pretty decent. It's nice leather. It's all etched in with some pretty carvings.
Are we doing like double denim? Have we got denim shorts and a denim jacket kind of going on?
Not double denim,
We're not
but we've
double
got like
denim
some good leather, and we've got like the rest of it is all like a nice, comfy black kind of cotton. It's very versatile.
It's versatile because it's all about the movement, isn't it? You've got to have that range of movement when you're punching people.
Absolutely. Like if I can't draw my arm all the way back or get in for a grapple, then what use am I?
Donin, what armour have you gone for?
So, being as I left in a hurry, I had to take literally anything that was in the armory at that point. I had to escape. So, I've got plate legs, a robe top that also covers the plate legs, and I've got leather shoulder pads. I look like a wardrobe has thrown up on me.
Brilliant, but you're very armoured up right now. You're ready for a fight, which is ironic because you're an archer, but you're ready for the fight. And as you both stand in front of this huge open stone doorway, you realise that if there is treasure inside this place, inside this dungeon, it would change your lives, wouldn't it? It would really improve your quality of living because, Donin, you've always wanted to be rich. What are your dreams? Where have you come from and where do you want to go to?
Yeah, so obviously I was living with my mum in a small cave in the Great Mountain.
We've all been there.
We've all been there, yeah. And mostly I just want to move out of the mountain. I mean, I'm just free roaming at the moment. I want to find a place to settle down and mostly to prove to Mum that I was right.
Right, gotcha. And why can't you move out the mountain right now?
Well, I mean...
Is the hovel market just a bit out of reach right now?
To be honest, you wouldn't believe the resale value on a cave. It's absolutely insane. And it's actually more expensive to rent a cave than it is to buy.
Yeah, and you've got to clear the kobolds out, and you've got to clear the millipedes out. There's a lot of kind of paperwork.
Well, they charge extra if they're already in there. Some will treat those as a delicacy.
Yeah, you've really got to push it. And what's your ideal, when you've got all this money, what would you spend it on? Where is your perfect residence?
Ooh, there's a forest quite nearby. Funny enough, the one where both my friends died. But there's a stream that runs just along the edge of it, and there's a nice little farmhouse with a water wheel. I'd just love to move in there, settle down, probably have a kid or two. Yeah.
So
that's the life for me.
Your lifelong ambition is to settle down in the forest where your friends died.
I'm not in it, on the river next to it. I'm not insane.
Just so you can look at the forest in the morning and be like, dead friends.
No. Right. You always want something to teach your kids a lesson, right? So what I want to do is, one day when they're old enough, I want to look out over the river, across the enchanted forest, and kind of do that thing from Lion King, where I'm like, boys, you see that dark place over there? We don't go there. I don't tell them why.
Did you watch the rest of The Lion King?
No. He just saw that bit. That's the whole film to Cal.
I don't know how the rest of this tale's gonna go with the kids. One or more may die. I don't know. I'll find out when I watch The Lion King.
Right, Cal. To you, is The Lion King just a 10-minute film of a dad telling his kids not to do stuff?
It's the only part I remember, and then a lion falls off a cliff.
Yeah, that's pretty much the entire film.
Oh, sweet.
So, and would you dig up the massive Venus flytrap, or if your kids were badly behaved, would you be like, stop it, or you're going in the flytrap?
I'd probably just dangle them over it from time to time. You know, a hard upbringing sometimes is the best.
Yeah, so you want to move out of your cave where you live with your mum and move into a little cottage on the edge of the forest where your friends died. So that's what you're aiming for.
Put it simply, that's what I want to do.
Groon, you haven't had the easiest upbringing, have you? Why don't you describe your kind of childhood to us, and then your situation you're in now and where you want to go to?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, because obviously I didn't want to go the same route that my brother did, and I didn't want to do what my parents did. You know, they were all a bit hoity-toity and in that elven lifestyle, and all of the flowy flowers. Like, I can't be doing with that. No, I want something different in life. So I had to kind of step out of the box, which makes it a lot harder. So everything was like a constant battle to prove myself, to say, no, this is what I want to do. I'm a barbarian. I've got big fists. I'm training. They wanted me to take extra lessons and languages and all. Like, I haven't got time. I am training. I'm working hard. I am winning things. I'm competing locally in the local towns to try and show off, you know, whether it's arm wrestling, anything like that I can do to prove who I am. That is what I'm doing. In the future, not quite a cave, but I would like to own my own house in the nearby town, next to the inn. That would be quite nice. Or the closer the better, honestly. Because I want to have that short walk after a long day, have a beer, then go home. But also, I'd really like to open a school for elves, to give them another avenue, so they don't have to just be, you know, and they can be a bit more, so they have other options in life.
That's great acting. Because, I mean, let's just do it one more time. Elves, they need to be less and more perfect. We're all on the same page right now.
Yeah.
We're all pretty much leveled up with what that. And what kind of lessons would this elvish school offer to wayward elves?
So this school would be kind of more for training purposes, you know, and stuff that they don't really teach you in the elven schools. You know, how to stick it to the man, and you know, how to work out properly, how to eat, how to get your protein in, you know, how to do things a little bit differently. Obviously, I'd have to probably get in some other people to help me with some of this stuff, but you know, I can do the main part of the programming, training, 6 days a week.
Do you just want to open an elven gym?
But for kids.
But for children. You want to...
Sounds so much worse.
Hang on. So if we break this down, are you just trying to start some kind of child elven militia?
When you put it like that, no. Absolutely not.
So you want to get a load of elven kids and teach them to fight, but in your way, not in anyone else's way?
If they want to have another option.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Will you have any kind of special uniform or special hats? Will they be arranged into like brigades?
No, we want to keep it kind of inclusive, so we don't want to, you know, like section ourselves off from anyone. So it'll be turn up in whatever kind of gear that you can turn up in, and hey, maybe they're even there's like a business side of the school or something.
Brilliant. I mean, are people
we need to
allowed
make money as well?
Are people allowed to talk about this, or is it something you would rather not be talked about?
Oh no, talk about it. We need
Brilliant.
marketing. We
Brilliant.
need all of that.
I'm just checking you're not making like an elven child fight club next to the inn, because that's very much what it sounds like you're building right now. But if that's what you want to do,
No.
that's what you want the money for. And we know that there is money and riches and wealth and treasure at the end of this cave. So you stand there looking at the door, the entrance. It's just a huge carved out arch, a tunnel leading into the cave. Doran,
Yes.
you are looking at this entrance into the cave. The Tomb of Horrors.
Sounds fun.
What are you thinking? What's on your mind?
Well, if it's a tomb, somebody's buried there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And being as it's called the Tomb of Horrors, I'm guessing it's not just a human that was buried there, just like a regular burial. So I'm wondering who's in there.
Guy.
It could be a horrible guy, a horrible human. But I'm going to guess it would have to be a very rich, horrible human to... Actually, this is all starting to make sense now. So I'm wondering who's actually buried in there, or what's buried in there.
What would you say to Groon as these thoughts flow through your head?
I'd say, Groon, you with your elven knowledge, do you know anything about this place? Do you know who or what could be buried here?
Groon, what do you think about this?
Do I look like a history major? No, but I hope it's not some empty bones, I tell you. If we go in here and there's not something worth taking home, I don't think I'll stop punching for a week.
That's the anger would come out, the punching. So much punching if there isn't there. Now, one of you is going to have to take the first tentative brave step forward into this tomb. Would one of you like to volunteer?
Well, I've had very good luck with standing back and letting friends go first up until now, so I volunteer for our friend here to go.
Fantastic.
Green will step forward.
Groon, would you please roll a d20?
12.
You take a solid step forward. The stone of the floor dusty, dry, much like Doran's face. And as we slowly make our way into this tomb, darkness begins to envelop you. Did you bring a flaming torch with you, or do you know any magical spells?
I do not know. I've got nothing but my elven eyes.
Your elven eyes, thankfully they can see quite well in the dark. You see the tunnel continues onwards, down, deeper, the walls smooth as you walk in, and at the very end you can make out a strange altar. Not any taller than you, with a little plinth. And above the altar, a void of spherical black, pulsing, existing and not existing at the same time. And you look around and you can't see any markings, you can't hear anything, it's deadly silent, and it seems that light is almost being sucked in to this black void. Doran. Was it Doran or Donin?
Donin.
Donin, what are you thinking as you watch?
Well, I'm pretty glad I didn't go first, to be honest. But I want to know what's happening with the big black void. I almost want to shoot an arrow into it and see what happens.
Are you going to walk into the tunnel as well, following Groon down?
Yes, I'm going to follow Groon down into the tunnel,
Would
staying
you-
quite far behind her.
Would you roll a d20, please?
Okay. 9.
You step forward. Nothing dangerous yet. Simply a tunnel. You walk in. You can't see as far. It's much darker for you. Do you know any magic spells, light, or do you have a flaming torch with you?
I've brought a torch with me. I always carry it in the caves, so always got one on hand.
So you're ready to light it?
I'm going to light it up.
It
and-
lights absolutely fine, and you are ready, and you walk in, and you walk up and you join Groon. You're standing there, looking at this plinth, roughly hip height, like a tube, if you will, and above it, a strange pulsing black void. Do you have any plans for this, Donny?
I'm just going to shoot an arrow into it and see what happens.
Roll a d20 for how accurate the shot is. You're standing right in front of it, but you could still go wrong.
Okay. 2.
2.
2.
Donin, are you wearing a quiver on your back or on your hip? Where are you keeping these arrows?
I've got it on my back.
You unnotch an arrow, and as you do, pull the arrow out. Because quivers often weren't worn on the back for this very problem, the tip of the arrow, which is barbed, because you are a violent, powerful hunter, the tip catches the inside of the quiver. And it kind of pulls the quiver up over your shoulder. And all the arrows then slide out of the quiver onto the black ball, the black void. And as they all fall into it, the moment they touch it, they instantly disintegrate. So you have gained information, but you have lost all of your ammunition.
Perfect.
It's a good start. This is where we wanted to be at the start of the adventure. You'll need to find arrows now as we go. So you can look, and you realise that this black void is destroying, obliterating anything that touches it. Groon, you've been watching this. What you've effectively saw is a dwarf walk up, pull an arrow out, catch the quiver, empty the quiver into this disintegration void, and then just kind of look at you. What are you thinking?
I just slap him on the arm and say, "What an idiot!"
Roll the d20.
Oh, that's a 3.
You slap him on the arm, which in your mind is just a ha-ha, but in reality is he turns and looks at you and you just straight on the face, really hard. That's 2. Donan, you've just been punched again.
Yeah.
Donan, could you roll a d20 to see how well you react to being punched in the face?
Oh boy. 5.
You narrowly, and I mean narrowly, avoid falling into this black disintegration void. And you kind of stumble to the floor and then you get yourself back up. So, Groon, you've punched your partner twice now. Once when he agreed with you and now when he's emptied all the arrows. What would you like to do apart from abusing the dwarf?
I actually pull him away a little bit from the orb, seeing that he was kind of getting a bit close to it and I didn't mean to do that. So I pulled him back a bit. And I'm going to actually look around the room and see what else is in here, because at the moment all I've got is this void and it just eats things. So like I want to see what else is going on as I can see. You realise that the actual black void itself is relatively dangerous, so you start to look around. Someone in the chat just said, if they can't die, what can the void do? I can restart this adventure as many times as we need, okay? We're going to restart if we need to. As you look around, you realise that on the very bottom of this plinth, there is a small switch carved into the rock, big enough to grab and kind of pull. It's at roughly knee level around the back of the plinth. You can pull the switch if you want to. Yeah, I'll pull the switch.
You pull the switch, you hear a click, a whir. You hear metal grinding on stone, and the plinth itself begins to lower into the ground. The orb going in with it, and then a cap following and falling down. The tunnel now continues, cranking, grinding, and opening up. Rocks slide across rocks, allowing you to delve deeper into this tunnel. You've managed to pass the first test, the Orb of Annihilation. Who will take the first step into the next room?
Well, I hate to use excuses, but I literally have no ammo at this point, so I think it's best that I stay back and you can just punch them all if there's anything in there.
Groon, how do you feel about this?
I kind of grab like the top of what he's wearing and just start dragging him down this tunnel.
Roll a d20 to see how well the grab goes.
3.
So you punch me in the face again.
The orb lowers down. Donin looks up and goes, I have no ammunition. I do not believe I would be useful in this specific moment. Groon simply looks at you and then just punches you in the face through the new opening, and you stumble blindly into the darkness, having been smacked further into the tunnel.
Perfect.
You get to your feet and you look around. You start to try and make sense of where you are. And at the end, you see a door. The big stone room. A door at the end, a wooden door. Standing on either side, 2 statues. human size, slightly taller, both clad in black armour. Both of them holding long two-handed swords, the blades facing downwards, resting on the ground. Armoured metal helmets. Staring straight forward. You aren't sure if they're alive or dead.
I want to... They're just like... There's no sign of movement, just statues,
No sign of movement, just black. You can tell it's metal. It's black
Okay.
metal and they're staring and looking forward.
I think what would be best to do at this point is that I just hurl my torch at them, being as it's the only like projectile I now have, and see if anything happens when I just bonk it off the head.
You want to throw the flaming torch at one of them. The one on the left or the right from where you are looking at it from?
We'll go with left.
We'll go with the left one. Fantastic. Roll a d20, see how accurate the throw goes.
Grun's not looking too happy. 12.
12. It's not the most majestic, but the torch arcs through the air, and as it does, and the flames flicker, you can see a couple of bats nesting on the ceiling, you can see some moss growing on the walls where the water has dripped down from above the top of the mountainside, and the torch lands at the feet of the left knight, hitting it on the left knee. Not on its face or main body, but it contacts the knee, and you can hear a metal clang. It's hollow. And as the clang happens, you see the helmet creak and look down at this torch, and then creak and look back up. It hasn't acknowledged you, but it has acknowledged being hit. The door, the big heavy wooden door you can see behind it, is barred. There's no lock, there's no handle, there's simply a stone bar across it, and the stone bar itself disappears into the walls surrounding the door. So you need to either find a way to get rid of that bar or to break it. Be difficult to do. While this has been happening, Grun, what have you been thinking? You've just watched the dwarf
I've been
lobber.
thinking, this thing just moved. I just looked down. I turn around and go back to the switch and flick it on again.
You turn around and walk back to the switch. The switch itself was actually connected to the pedestal that descended into the earth. So unfortunately, there's no way you'd be able to reach down and get it. However, the pedestal descending into the earth means there was a cylindrical-like depression in the earth that you can go down. You could attempt to pull the cap off the floor. If you did that, what you would effectively reveal is a hole in the floor that leads to an orb of annihilation that's just kind of chilling there.
I would like to pull the cap off, please.
Oh no.
Roll a d20 to see how well this removing the floor plate goes.
That's a 5.
That's a 5. What weapon have you got?
Just my fists with
Just-
some coverings.
And some coverings on the fist. You lean down. You wrap your fingers around the edge of this plate, a big cylindrical stone-like slab, and you lift heavily. It's heavy, but you're strong. And as you lift up, it twists, and then it kind of slips and it falls in. And as soon as it touches the orb, disintegrated. You begin to fall as well, but you're just able to catch yourself on the edge of the hole, with your hands on either side and your feet there, effectively straddling this hole. Donin, what you've seen is the elf walk back over, rip something out the ground, throw it into it, and then just fall forward and just kind of hang there. And as you do that, both of the statues just turn slightly, their heads snapping, a metal grate, a scratch if you will, and they are staring straight toward Grun.
Oh dear. I feel like... What else is there in the room with the bats and the statues that I'm currently in?
The only other thing you can see is on the actual rock bar that's barring this wooden door, there's an inscription.
Oh.
And it simply says the word riddle.
Well, that's helpful. Grun, are you any good at riddles?
I'm hanging over this hole currently, am I not?
Yes,
That's a
Grun
good
is still
point.
just there.
Would
can
you
still
stop
hear.
reading and get over here?
Yeah, I'm on my way. It'll take me a second. I've left my torch back there. I run over to pull Grun out of the hole, or from over the hole.
Roll a d20.
Oh, Jesus.
Don't drop me in it. Don't.
2. Sorry.
I'm coming, Groon! As Donin screams and sprints over to help. Donin runs up, grabs Groon in order to pull her off this hole and save her. Is your character male or female, Groon?
Female.
Female. As attempt to pull Groon off and save her. Unfortunately, what you don't realise is that this is very oily, very slippy, and even though they're wearing armour, it's soaked through. So what then happens is you grab, you slip, your feet kind of go a little bit haywire, and you start to fall into this hole. As you fall into the hole, you can feel your boots touch the sphere. And you feel them immediately disintegrate. Thankfully, you're able to wrap your arms around Groon and pull your knees up to your chest quickly. Groon, you are effectively straddling over this hole right now with a dwarf wrapped around your midriff, hanging. Your shoes have been destroyed, Donin.
Yeah.
Groon, how's this day going for you?
This was not what I asked for.
No, but
I told
it was
you
what
to
you
stop reading.
got.
Reading is bad.
Are you going to attempt to kind of push off the straddle hole? Roll the
push
d20.
myself out of this hole. Hopefully. 19.
19. That
Brilliant.
is what we need. With one hand still on the floor, you reach down, you grab the dwarf by the scruff of the neck, you lift him up and you kind of push him back into the riddle room, and you stand up, you dust yourself off, you look down and you see the ashes, the remnants of some dwarven boots. Are you willing to walk back into the riddle room to join up with Donin and see how he's feeling now? You've got access to this hole, this orb of annihilation in the floor still.
Oh, yeah, I go back over to Donin and ask him, what you reading? What is it then? Why did you nearly let me die for?
It says riddle. I assume this
As
means
soon as
that
you
there
say
is
the
some
word
sort of
riddle out loud, one of the knights turns and look at you. In fact, you realise they've both turned to look at you. And they both speak at exactly the same time. And they both say, one of us will lie. The other will lie. That's all they say.
Okay, I think I know where this is going.
Green immediately says, well, I'm not the liar, obviously. Just in case.
Yeah, I assume not. But,
Do you wish to ask either of the two armoured statues a question?
Okay. I want to ask the left statue, which one of you is lying?
I am.
I just realised that's
the
not
left
very
statue.
helpful.
Do you wish to ask the other statue a question?
I think we should ask the same question to both of them.
I see.
Yeah, so I think we should ask the right statue which one's lying.
I am.
So we've surmised that one of them is lying.
One
Right.
of the statues
So you're
will
a liar,
lie.
and you're
Now,
a liar.
One of them, potentially both of them, hold the key to getting this rock bar off the back door, the wooden door that's preventing you from going forward. You need to gain information from these statues, work out what they want, and then work out the best way to provide it to them. What are you thinking, Donin? How are you going to get this information? Groon, do you have an idea?
I asked the left one. So how do we get through this door?
You must destroy one or both of us.
One or both. So it can be both then. And I immediately just try to pick this statue up.
Roll a d20.
12.
You walk forward and you're going to wrap your round around it to pick it up.
Yeah.
As soon as you do, the statue, with surprising nimble and quick speed, jumps back, takes up the double-handed sword, and swings it at you, hip height, attempting to cleave you in two in one hit. Roll a d20. Tell me how you would defend yourself.
Oh my gosh. That is a 3, so I
Three.
don't.
How would
It
you
happened
attempt
so
to?
quickly.
This sword is coming straight towards you. How would you attempt to defend yourself?
He's jumped backward, and I still think he's there.
Okay.
The weight hasn't gone from my brain.
So you're just going to kind of try and pick him up like this.
Yeah.
And
he's just
as you
gone,
do,
oh,
you expose your stomach. You expose your torso, and then you feel a sharp pain, and you look down and you realise that he hadn't jumped back quite as far as he realised, and the inch of the blade, the very tip of the blade, has sliced straight in. You realise that it's cut through the leather, it's cut through the fabric, and it's cut maybe a centimetre into your flesh. It hurts. It begins to burn. You look down and you see that the blood begins to start to pour out. You're not out of the fight, but that was way, way too close. He has damaged your beautiful abs.
oh, that was the new vest as well.
That was a new vest as well. And as you saw this, Donin, what you've just seen is an elf go forwards, try and pick a statue up, the statue to jump back, draw its blade and strike at you. The statue, the other one, he's chilling. He's not doing anything. What are you going to do, though? Because this statue is still standing there with a sword ready, still about to attack.
Right, I feel that if I engage with them in conversation again, it might, just lower tensions. So I'm going to go with something chat has suggested.
Okay.
So if we know that one's telling the truth and one's lying, we need to ask them a question that we already know the answer to.
You only know
right?
that both of them might lie. I didn't say this was a good riddle.
Right.
This is not an easy
smart.
D&D adventure.
So both of them might lie.
Or they might not. I mean, the word riddle is carved onto the thing, but it might not be relevant to the room you're in. This is Tomb of Horrors. This is not going to go well for you.
Okay. I'm going to ask one of them, how do I keep this door closed?
Roll a d20 to see how well this goes.
To see how well words come out my mouth.
Yes. How well they react to it.
9.
So are you going to say, how do we keep this door closed?
Yes.
Are you asking the one that's currently in combat or the one that's not in combat?
I'll ask the one in combat so that he kind of stops the combat thing.
Oh, he simply turns to you and goes, do whatever you wish. If you do nothing, the door remains closed.
I feared that might be the answer.
What information have you gained from that, Kat? I just want to know where your thought process was going with that.
It wasn't really.
I'd see.
Someone in chat said it, and it was a better alternative than anything I'd got.
Live, this is going to go great. I'm looking forward to when we've got a huge audience that you can take suggestions from. Guys, if you're in chat and you want to suggest things for them, feel free to go to their channels and suggest things for them. They will do it.
We will.
Groon, you've got a bleeding stomach. It hurts. You've realised you're not carrying this thing anymore. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking, my abs! But also, okay, so is he lying? That was a really dumb question. What does that even mean? I'm gonna just try to do I want to do that? Do I want to do that? What do I do? I'm gonna try and disarm him. I'm gonna try and just grab the sword and
You're going to try and grab the sword and then throw it out of his hands, or
concrete hands.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I'm going to use my natural oils to lube up the sword in his hand and throw it. Oh god.
That's the subscription right there, guys. That's the sound bite. If any of you want to just clip that bit, there you go. Roll a d20 to see how well it goes using your natural oils to lube up the sword.
That was a 6.
It was a 6. You lean forward. You grab the handle of the sword. He looks at you. You look at him. The oil begins to drip. You yank away, and it does come free from his grasp.
Oh.
The problem is you've yanked a little bit hard. Roll a d20.
Oh no, not the hole again. 9.
9. You yank the sword away. And thankfully you haven't twisted it so the sharp edge of the blade isn't there. But what Donin now knows is a slap in the face with the flat of a blade. You have just yanked this sword out of this automaton's hand and you've pulled it away. And as you pull it away, Donin looks up and it's just like, not hard.
Just hilt bashed me.
Just slapped in the face, just with the tip of the sword. Just slapped. A little bit stunned. Not hurt, just a little bit stunned. Thankfully, you have now disarmed him. The knight, however, Not perturbed at all. Simply opens his hand up, straightens up, steps forward, pulls a fist back, and thrusts it straight toward your face, as hard as he can. Roll the d20, Groon.
Makes a change for once.
18.
Groon is amazing. The martial arts skill. How would you avoid it?
I see this coming, I'm like, I've done boxing training recently. I've trained with the best in town. I easily duck out of the way. It's not even a problem. It's literally like child's play.
It is. And you bring an arm up and you deflect it and you knock away this punch. Donin, roll a d20.
Oh, for God's sake. 9 again.
9. The punch comes from the automaton. Groon ducks, dives, dodges, knocks the punch away. Donin looks around and sees a metal fist flying straight toward his face, knocked toward it. Thankfully, you're able to avoid it at the last second. It doesn't hit you this time. Groon, how would you retaliate?
He's going to punch, well, I punch harder. So I go straight in with a right hook.
Roll a
because
d20.
he's too busy looking further away than I am now. That is a natural one.
That is a natural 1. Donin, roll a d20 to see how well this affects you.
Oh, my God. 9 again.
Does your die? Are you
Hang
just
on,
rolling like a
29-sided
9-sided die?
die?
Have you just got 9 on
there's
every
only one
face?
9.
Groon dodges, ducks, blocks the first hit. Donin nearly gets hit by the deflected punch. Groon pulls a fist back, swings it round as hard as they possibly can. It's familiar. Your fist by now knows the feeling of Donin's face. You know how the curves, you know the bone structure, you know the dryness of the skin. And as you bring around this right hook, it's just a little bit too far out. You should have kept your hands in, should have gone straight for a jab, but this huge right hook, you've slapped on him with the tip of the sword, which has somewhat stunned him. And as he stumbles around, the next thing you know is it's just bang! A really heavy punch on the face. Donin, you're not out the game. You've been slapped.
No.
You've been punched. But now it's time for you to join in the fight against this automaton. The automaton threw a punch, it missed, it's waiting, it's ready. It's getting ready to fight you. What are you going to do?
I want to attempt to do a run and cannonball straight at it. Just curl up into a dwarf ball and just plonk straight on him.
You're going to body slam the automaton.
I'm going to body slam him because I've got no ammo.
Just run, jump, grab it, and just slap into it. Roll a d20, Cal.
I'm going to say 9.
Here's the 9.
Don't be 9.
9 would have been better. It's a 1.
Oh.
I'm going to go through the floor, aren't I?
Donin, in his infinite wisdom, decides the best thing to do at this point is to run, jump, curl into a ball, and just smash into the wall as hard as he can. Like the automaton sees you coming. The armoured thing sees this angry dwarf just sprinting, jumping, curling, and all the automaton does is just step to the side. And in slow motion, almost, he sees you bowling through the air next to him. He turns and looks at you. You turn and scowl at him. And for a brief moment, your faces are next to each other as you realise you've missed. And the hard wall behind you is the only thing that greets you. You crash into the wall. Roll a d20 to see how much damage you and your equipment take.
8.
8. Your
Not
bow
quite the 9.
survives. Your arrows, if you had any left, would be broken. And you crash and crumple to a heap on the floor. It's not going great. The automaton sees you doing this, walks over and delivers a swift kick to your ribcage. You hear a crack. You don't know how many bones are broken, but something is definitely not right. Groon, you have blocked a punch. You have retaliated by punching Donin in the face. And Donin has continued the attack by just launching himself at the wall as hard as he can. What is your next move?
After the automaton goes to kick him while he's down, I grab him by the back of the shoulders and throw him off into the other room.
Roll a d20.
That's a 4.
It's a complicated scuffle. It is a difficult thing. So when you reach down and when you grab, you don't know what you've grabbed. You just assume that it's the metal armour. So when you launch whatever it is that you've grabbed into the other room, Donin is very surprised to find himself just been picked up and thrown all the way across into the other room. It was a scuffle, it was a melee, you didn't know what you were grabbing, you just did what you thought was best at the time. Donin, would you roll a d20 please to see how well you can recover from being launched back into the obliteration room?
Come on. 13.
13. You actually managed to stabilise yourself before you fall into this hole. You're ready, you're bleeding, you're hurt, but you're not down. You're ready. You can see that you know Groon didn't mean that. She was trying to get this metal creature off you. But it's still annoying. What are you thinking about the adventure so far, Donin? Is this worth it? The treasure you might get at the end?
I mean, if I get anything from this, I'll be thankful. I mean, I've had 3 punches, probably 4 or 5 at this point, so the reward needs to outweigh what's been put in so far.
Well, you've got one of these metal creatures attacking you, the other one's still standing there silently, and the bar across the door is still there. What are you going to do now? Because this thing is still dangerous. It's still going to keep attacking you.
I want to give it a riddle.
You want to give it a riddle?
I do.
What would you say to it?
Oh, that's a good one. Hadn't thought that far ahead.
Is that what you'd said to it?
No.
You've walked up to it, you've gone, hey, it's looked at you, and you've gone, I haven't thought this far ahead.
What's long and sharp and no longer in existence?
Is that what you're going to say to it?
That's what I'm going to say to it.
What's long and sharp and no longer in existence? The creature straightens up. His head tilts. A metal creak can be heard. He looks at you and goes, your arrows?
Fuck. Yeah.
Is that what you respond with?
That is what I respond with, just a disappointed fuck.
Is that the fantasy? What is long and sharp and no longer... Fuck. That's just what the dwarf would say.
Yeah, pretty much.
The automaton doesn't smile, but you can tell that the metal grating has kind of twisted into a grin as it returns and stands guard where it originally was, and you hear the creak of stone as you see the bar begin to slide across. And eventually it has disappeared into the wall, and the wooden door, you hear a click, and the middle just creaks open very slightly. You have managed to open the riddle door.
Well, I'm glad I'm no good at riddles. Yeah. That worked out well.
Groon, how are you feeling about this as you just saw... You didn't even hear it. What you heard was... You threw Donin away. Donin walked back up, and then you just heard... And the machine went, arrows! And Donin went, fuck. And then the door opened.
What did you say to him? Are you going to still keep attacking us? I've picked up his sword, or the automaton sword, and kind of like dangled it over the hole in case.
He doesn't really care.
Don't get rid of that. I need a weapon.
She dropped it.
Oh,
I dropped
balls.
it. Evaporate.
Well, that could have gone better.
Are you ready to walk into the third and final room of the dungeon?
Can I first steal the sword from the other guy who still has it?
You can try.
I tried to steal the sword from the other guy that still has it.
Roll the d20.
Oh, Jesus. 16.
You grab the sword.
No. 19.
You grab the sword out of his hand. You take it. The actual armour itself just crumbles. Falling to the floor, the magic gone. And you now have a long, black, two-handed sword. Razor sharp, shiny, powerful, dangerous, taller than you even. Are you trained in swords?
Not really, but I'm also not trained in fist fighting, so it's probably going to go just as well.
Excellent. Well, we've got a huge, long, dangerous object to use. Are you ready to walk through into the final room of the dungeon?
I am.
Who of you is going first? Groon, do you think you are brave enough to go first?
I push him aside and just start walking because I know for a fact he doesn't have the balls to do it himself.
Roll the d20 to see how well that push aside goes.
Oh, fuck.
20.
20.
Okay.
Finally.
It's a perfect. It's almost like a friendly push aside. Like, Donnan was going to go to the door and you almost kind of went, no. And then just pushed him back and stepped forward, almost like defending.
Yeah.
There was care. There was compassion there. That was good.
And it saves me coming up with an excuse to send her first.
Exactly. Are you going to push these double doors open and walk into the final room?
Yeah, you know, like that Lord of the Rings scene
Yes,
where Aragorn
we
like
all
pushes
know
the doors.
that's the
I'm
only
all
way.
oily. There's a breeze. It's magical.
Roll a d20 to see how well pushing the doors open goes.
17.
It's perfect. Hands placed, it creaks, just enough effort. Boom, opens up, you walk in, the doors click back into their latches, and you stride in to a big, empty room. Flagstones on the floor, smooth. The walls, not just natural rock this time, but carved, beautiful and smooth. The ceiling covered in glowing blue moss. A huge square room. And in the very centre, a skull on the floor. Nothing magical, nothing special, nothing obvious, just a skull on the floor. Donnan, you follow in. What are you thinking, Donnan?
Well, this is a pretty crappy reward for starters. The moss is nice.
That's what you're thinking. The interior decorating of this dungeon is spot on.
I mean, our caves didn't look this good, so this must be a very high cost to maintain.
So you've just broken into an ancient tomb, and your first thought is, the rent round here must be quite high.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have flagstones or moss. Well, not glowy moss, anyway.
That costs extra, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's an add-on.
That's a premium cave feature. Are you going to try and take some of the moss?
Yeah, I'd actually like to take enough to use as a cloak, almost.
Oh, you want to...
So that next time Grun throws a punch, it's quite obvious where I am.
So you're effectively making a high-vis jacket out
Pretty
of
much
moss.
I am making a high-vis jacket out of glowing moss.
The ceiling is a little bit higher than you can reach. You would need to jump.
I've got the long sword.
You got a long sword.
Can
You
I
do.
pick him up?
Or I don't trust. Actually, let's not do that. That we know how any interactions between us have gone so far.
Are we not
trust
doing?
me? I'm your friend. We've been on so many adventures together. When are you going to just learn to trust me?
Go on then. In for a penny, in for a pound. Let's do it.
How are you going to attempt to pick the dwarf up, Grun?
Think very carefully.
I kind of, because I'm obviously quite a bit taller, so I kind of kneel down to give him like my knee to stand on, so that he can then like cheerleader kind of get onto my back, and then like I can hold his feet kind of when I stand up, and kind of just like from a squat into
it's going to hurt with his broken
standing.
rib, but you might be able to do it. It's going to hurt with your cut open ab, but again, roll the d20, see how well your part of this goes.
16.
It's not bad. You kneel down, you form a solid base, your legs out in front, the step is on. Donnan, you put your feet on, you grab the hands, you stand up, you stand on the shoulders, and then just as Grun fully extends up, Donnan, roll a d20.
Oh, come on. 16.
16.
Yes.
You stand up. Donnan looks up, and as you are thrust toward the ceiling, your face stops half an inch before this moss. Just right there. Just really close. Nearly smashed your face into it, but didn't.
Good.
You can reach up and grab a handful of moss now if you want to.
Yeah, I just want to grab as much as I need to make a cloak.
You do. You pull down clumps and you start to take it off the top. And as you do, you kind of start pulling and you realise that it's quite dense. All the tendrils are interwoven, all the moss is packed, the mud behind it. And as you pull it off, you realise that it's kind of all peeling off. It's all falling off. It's not just little clumps on its own. It's all grown into one huge interwoven, interconnected bit. So as you peel, you look and you realise that the whole roof is starting to peel down with it. The stone is fine. It's just the moss. Do you want to keep doing this? Because you might end up pulling the whole lighting grid effectively off.
Yeah, let's not do that then. I just want to take my sword and cut out just enough for a cape.
And that works perfectly. You manage at the tip of the blade, move it around the ceiling, take it off, and then you hop off down to the floor. You've got a lovely dwarf-size cloak. of pre-cut, pre-sewn, pre-fabric moss, and you can simply throw it around. Because it's got mud on the back, it's quite sticky, so you can actually just kind of stick it to your back.
Perfect. I'm very dry anyway, so this works.
It's beautiful.
Well.
It's soaking in, it's sticking, it's working really well, and you glow.
Yes.
Which means you now have advantage. Whenever you are about to get punched, you can roll 2 d20s and choose the one that favours you the most.
Perfect.
Brilliant. See? That is giving reward advantage to a player for making a good decision. We're in this room still. The skull on the floor. There's nothing else around you. There's nowhere to go. There's no doors, no exits. There's just the skull in the centre. Groon, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking, well, that hurt my abs a little bit. I might have to have a sit down in a minute. But I told you, if we come on this adventure and there's just bloody bones, it's always just bloody bones.
I mean, we are in a tomb, so that was to be expected somewhat. But it is kind of disappointing. I was going to say, it's kind of disappointing there's nothing else here. Unless it's hidden.
What are you thinking about doing, Donin? What's going through your mind? There's just one skull in the centre of the room.
Honestly, I'm thinking whatever's going on with that skull is going to be some sort of voodoo stuff, and I don't want any part of that. I'm considering taking it back to the first room and just lobbing it down the well.
What are you thinking of this, Groon?
Thinking, well, that sounds like a great idea because I fucking hate skulls, but like, what else are we then doing? There's nothing else here. Surely, is there like a skull-shaped thing? Is there going to be a giant boulder suddenly come and chase us if we pick up the skull? Does it look like it's on a trigger or something?
Those are good points. I didn't think about any of those.
It just looks like a skull on the floor. You've got access to this final room. There's just a skull, a human skull, in the middle. It's a bit too clean. It's a little bit white, a little bit bright, but it just looks like a regular skull on the floor.
Can I try to find out, like with my elven knowledge, if it's magical at all?
Roll a d20.
15.
It's a skull. It's on the floor. It's white. You walk up to it. You kneel down. You look, and you realise that it's definitely evil. You don't know what or why, but it is not good. You don't want to touch this. You don't even want this to exist. You know it's not great. Are you going to tell...
I really hate skulls.
Are you going to tell Donin of this information as well?
Yeah, I'm going to relay this to him, but in my Groon way of saying... Like, I absolutely hate... Bones, the worst thing ever. This bone, especially, though, is evil. Don't touch it. You don't want an evil boning.
Yeah, nobody wants an evil boning. Donin, what are you thinking after you've just seen this big angry elf turn around and yell at a bone?
So, it was to be expected. I'm not a fan of them myself, but now I'm thinking I don't want to touch it. But I still want to throw it down the big pit of void destruction. And I'm thinking it's probably best to do that on the end of my sword at a distance. Kind of like a barge pole.
So
try throwing your sword at it.
Actually, that's not a bad call. I want to throw my sword at it.
Okay. Roll a d20, see how well this goes.
Okay. 19.
19.
Yeah.
How are you throwing the sword? Describe it to me.
So I'm going to do like an Olympic javelin run-up over the shoulder.
Okay. And just kind of arm back, you got the blade, launch it straight at it. The launch is perfect. It whistles as it flies through the air. Are you aiming for one of the eye sockets on the front of the skull?
I'm going to go for the little nose hole.
Little nose hole, perfect. Straight through. In. Now, it doesn't split the skull. It's so sharp, it just cuts it and it goes through. And the blade embeds itself in the floor, straight down to the hilt. Effectively, you've just pinned this skull to the floor with the hilt of your sword. And as you do, the skull itself begins to vibrate. It begins to shake. It begins to almost glow an otherworldly green, very similar to the moss that's above you. And as it begins to shake, it begins to try and move, and you see the skull trying to raise off the floor, but it can't because the crossguard of the sword is pinning it down because the blade has gone through where the nose would be. It can't move, and you can feel this evil energy, this aura radiating from it. What are you thinking now, Donnan?
Okay, that was a terrible idea. But now I noticed it's obviously glowing the same colour as the plants on the ceiling. So I'm wondering what would happen if it touched them. Don't know whether it would be good or bad, but with my track record, it could go either way.
What would you like to do?
I think I want to pull the ceiling down on it.
Are you going to use the same tactic as before, as getting up and grabbing the moss and pulling it down?
Yeah, well, how far is the moss hanging down from when we first tugged on it?
Only a couple of inches.
Oh, right. Yeah, let's not tug a couple of inches. I will get back on your shoulders and we'll pull the rest down. Actually, I've got a cloak. Screw that. I'll throw my cloak over it.
Donnan the
That's a
dwarf.
much better plan.
Donnan the dwarf walks up to the intensely evil, ancient, powerful, in many ways possibly demonic skull. A skull pinned to the floor of an ancient tomb through the black blade of the riddle demon as it shakes and violently tries to raise up, to escape its resting place. And to add insult to injury, what Donnan then does is just take a little bit of dirt and just put it on top. I want you to imagine being the skull of an ancient, incredibly powerful being, just kind of chilling in your tomb, and then having a dwarf that you've never met walk in, throw a sword through your nose hole, and then just put some moss over you. It's not the most dignified way to have existence be. The moss doesn't do anything. There's no effect to it. It is literally just glowing moss. So all you've done is just kind of cover it up, like put it to sleep almost.
Out of sight, out of mind.
You've tucked it in, if anything.
Perfect.
What are you thinking about this, Groon?
I'm thinking, okay, so we've just put a bit of moss over this, but it's not actually done anything.
Oh no, the moss itself is still shaking and vibrating, and you can tell this skull is incredibly angry, but it's pinned to the floor with a sword, and it's covered with a bit of moss.
I'm going to regret doing this, but I'm going to try to help it and unsword it.
You're going to try and pull the sword out. Donnan, what do you think about this?
It's probably for the best. I mean, both things that I've done have had no effect and have not helped in any meaningful way. So
you're going to walk up and pull the sword out?
Yeah, I'll put my cape on.
Are you going to pick the cape back up before the sword is pulled out?
Well, I'd imagine that the sword hilt is also covered by the cape, so I think it makes sense.
The sword hilt's kind of sticking out, like the cape has been kind of draped over the top of it. So you could just pull the sword out, and all the moss would do is just fall over the skull, flat, almost like a dog under a blanket.
I think it's probably best to take the cape back.
You take the cape back, you put it back on. The skull, even though it has no eyes, you can tell it's looking at you, and it's very angry, and it's very evil, and you can sense that it wants to kill you.
Well, we should probably not let it do that, but I guess we could strike a bargain with it and help it out. I don't know
exactly what I was thinking.
I don't know what we're helping it out of. Probably the cave or the tomb, but yeah, I can't see any way that this could go possibly wrong.
I see. So, Groon, what are you thinking about this incredibly ancient, evil, powerful, demonic skull that wishes for both of you to die and currently is only held to the floor by a very lucky javelin throw?
I'm thinking we should stop trusting hooded people in bars when we've had a drink.
I agree.
Donnan, what are you thinking we're going to do to get out of this situation?
I think we need to try and talk to the skull, see if it responds, because we've not tried that yet. I mean, maybe it could magic some words at us.
What would you say?
You're right, mate. I'm just trying to be friendly.
You have bested the orb of annihilation. You have defeated the riddle keepers. You have broken in to the final moss room, the final resting place of this demonic evil skull. And you've just walked up and gone, "You're all right, mate."
I suppose it needs to be more dwarven than that, doesn't it?
No, that was perfect.
Okay.
He doesn't speak. It doesn't speak, but you can hear words forming in your head. You can hear, in an ancient, dead tongue, "No, I am not all right, mate."
Yeah, I don't know why I asked that. I can see you're not.
You are the fantasy negotiator.
It's like that British thing where you say "you're right" to everyone, even though that's not really what you're asking, you know.
So, Groon, you can hear these words in your head as well. So this conversation, you know what's going on with this. What are you thinking after we've just gone, "You're right, mate," and the answer is, "No, not really"?
I'm kind of like hovering over this sword hand at the moment. Like, do I grab it? Do I pull it out? Do I not do it? Do I do it? I'm like, of course he's not all right. He's got a skull in his face. But also, he actually doesn't have any rest of his body. It's just a skull. So I'm going to ask him, like, where's the rest of you?
You can hear the words forming in your mind. "Spread across the land. Remove the sword, and riches will be yours."
I mean, there is a benefit to this because even if it goes horribly wrong and he, like, plagues the town or something, I get my sword back.
It was never your sword.
Okay, look at it like this. This dungeon has taken my weapon, my ammo. I'm taking its weapon. That's fair payment.
Well, we have a very angry skull on the floor, only kept down by a sword. You get to choose the next move. You can just leave. You just leave this demonic skull where it is and just walk out of the dungeon if you wanted to. But you've been given a chance. You've been put in a position that history will remember. How Donin and Groon dealt with finding the demonic skull in the Tomb of Horrors will be a tale told across the ages. What?
Yeah, let's just pull the sword out and see what he, take him out or something. Take him with us. Maybe the skull itself is the reward. Maybe I can use it to cast some dwarven magic or something.
My chat have a lot of very bad suggestions for what you should do to the skull. Take him out to dinner. Let's see. Groon, do you have any input on this?
I know what I want to do, and chat gonna hate me.
Okay.
I want to grab the sword and I want to pull it out in such a motion that I'm going to fling the skull and try to kind of bounce it around to kind of like ping pong it like one of those old school machines.
Yep.
Into the pit of annihilation.
So you want to effectively pull the sword out and then kind of fling it or flick it or launch it
so
back through the big square room that you're in now, back through the riddle room, and then into the pit, almost like like mini golf but with demons.
Yeah.
Right, so you're going for like demonic style lacrosse into the orb of annihilation. Roll a d20.
I'm fully with you on this plan, by the way. This would have been my first plan.
That is an 18.
Brilliant. Because I was going to go into Donin's face, but now it doesn't. You flick, you pull the sword out, you can hear the ground of the dirt slide off at that wet squelch of pulling out of sodden earth, and you flick. And the moment you do, the skull flies off the tip of the sword and then stops, hovering in the air, maybe about a foot away from the sword. And then it turns. It turns, and it looks at you, staring straight at Groon. Words form in your mind again. It simply says, "Thank you. All I need now is a vessel."
Nope.
I have a plan for that, actually. A very good plan that doesn't involve either of us, and it kind of eradicates another problem that we've got.
Donan, is that you saying that out loud to the skull?
No,
So you've heard, I need a vessel. You've still gone, actually, we have a plan for that.
So I kind of, I pull Grun over to the side and I say, I've got a plan for this that doesn't involve either of us, and it does eradicate another problem that we previously had.
You hear a voice in your mind going, I can hear you. I'm in the room. I'm right here.
So anyway, the plan that I have is there's still another statue in the previous room, isn't there?
There
Only
is.
one of them crumbled. There's your vessel.
There are bits of statue on the... Yeah, it was the floor, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then you... Yeah, it's just standing there chatting out, the one you told the riddle to. That's still there.
Yeah, cool. There's your vessel. How's that sound for you?
Roll the d20 to see how charismatic you are.
Oh, shit. 17.
He listens to you. The skull turns and looks back at you, considers, looks at the statue in the other room, and then begins to float, silently, to the other room. You hear the clang of metal, the scrape across stone, and then a clank, a step, another clank, another step, another clank, another step. And standing in the entranceway to this final room is the suit of armour, but the helmet is gone and the skull is simply floating there.
Oh, nice.
It steps forward. It raises its sword. You hear in your head, "Thank you. Thank you." And he holds out the sword toward you, Donin. And then as his hand unfurls, the blade is kind of... It's a perfectly balanced blade, so he's offering you the handle of the sword.
Oh. I'm not one to turn down free stuff, so I want to reach out and take it.
You take it. And then you hear a clank as they turn around and walk away. People are saying, wasn't that one destroyed? No, it was the sword from the original one that he picked up. That one was still there. He walks away, and he goes and clanks out of the tomb. And you are left, standing in this huge, big, open square room, a mossy cape. You can see on the floor where the skull was that the flagstone has been charred black by the pure evil resonance inside of it. And you've just given it an immortal, unkillable, metallic body and just kind of let it go, really. What are you thinking now?
I'm thinking this would make a fantastic apartment.
Okay.
Probably to rent, not to live in. I still definitely want to be down by the river.
Right, so it's good real estate, but it's not suitable for your needs, but you know there's probably someone who would rent this out.
Yeah, we probably need to board up the Orb of Annihilation, you know, the remains of
put
the
a bit
first
of wood
guy.
over it. Just nail it down.
Some plywood over it, you know. That's a problem for the next owners, not me.
Right, okay. So, what are you thinking, Groom?
I'm thinking, well, where's our endless riches and treasure? All I've got is a bad boning and now some metal guys walking out. I feel like I've gotten nothing for this and only pain.
We've all been there. We've all been promised endless riches and treasure and ended up with a bad boning and been left alone in a big open apartment. It's just a part of life we have to go through.
It is.
But you seem to have cleared out the majority of this tomb. I suppose the only real thing you could do would be to head back to the tavern that started this and take the map and see if you can find the hooded man. Speak to him again.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should do that. And if it turns out he hasn't got anything to offer us, I'll go halves on the rent income with you. And that's kind of like rewards for life.
Also,
someone just commented the Orb of Annihilation would be the perfect spot for a toilet.
That's right, actually. No plumbing needed.
That's so true.
You are both very chaotic neutral, aren't you? Just do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it.
Slap a toilet seat on that bad boy, and you've got... I mean, it's no B-Day, but, you know, we make do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have everything, can you?
No.
Donnan...
I think it could work.
Donnan and Groon begin their long trek back to the village. And when you walk back into the inn, it's empty.
Oh.
It's abandoned. And it's been empty for years. The wood inside is rotten. What are you thinking, Donnan?
Have we just unleashed a time traveller?
Groon, what are you thinking?
How long were we in that cave?
How would you like to try and find out?
Are my abs healed?
You look down and realise, no, the wound is still there.
Dun dun dun.
Darling, what are you thinking?
Does time move slower in that cave?
Unfortunately not. You look around and you realise that everything that's metal is fine. Everything that's wood, natural, anything with any sense of life has had it drained, had it sapped away. The wood is dry and brittle, rotten, falling apart. The grass around the entrance shriveled up, dead, and if you look out the entrance of the inn, you can follow a path of death and dryness and bleak black on the floor, realising this is likely where this strange thing went to. What are you thinking now, Donin?
Well, Grun, I think we have to agree that the charred ground under the skull is probably a good indicator of what's happened here.
I feel like a mistake was made.
Yeah, I don't want to point fingers, but you did catapult it.
You threw a sword at its face!
And I kept it where it was. Just saying.
What are you thinking now, Groon?
I'm thinking I have seen this place that I love, because I love an inn. That's where all my friends hang out, you know, after we've been doing some training. And now I've got nowhere to hang out.
Someone's just commented,
ruined my future plans.
Are we the baddies? And then there was another comment saying, punch him in the face. And so concludes the first adventure of Groon and Donin as they dove into the Tomb of Horrors, having been tricked by a servant of the Arch-Lich Vecna in an attempt to free their master. What would normally happen is that an evil skull gets destroyed by the brave, valiant adventurers. What actually happened was you willingly gave the skull, the Arch-Lich, the idea to inhabit an immortal, unkillable set of animated armour. Then you said, good luck. You took a cloak from the ceiling, and then you walked out and realised might not be the best of ideas that we've ever had.
No, it wasn't the best. Could have gone better, that's to say the least.
You got punched in the face a lot. You
did.
You beat a metal automaton in a fight by calling it a riddle, and you lost all your arrows, but you didn't fall into the Orb of Annihilation. That was impressive. We managed to get all the way through a very, very abridged version of the Tomb of Horrors, and you did the exact opposite of what you should have done at the end.
Okay, great.
But
I'm really glad that worked out.
We got there. We got the adventures of the dry dwarf and the oily elf.
Yeah. It was fun.
Now what's going to happen is at Insomnia, there's going to be a D&D game run with 3 players. Yourself, Callum, yourself, Billy, and Rage Darling, who will be joining us as well. I will be attempting to DM as well as I can live on the stage, but we will be taking pretty much all the suggestions from the audience. Where we are, where the NPCs are, what we need to do, the enemies that attack. There will be a hell of a lot of suggestions, and we will be improvising it all around, everywhere.
Yeah.
If you're in the audience, if you're in the chat right now, I hope you enjoyed this funny, silly adventure, because D&D is about telling a silly story. Cal, apart from D&D, what have you been up to this week? Because I want to try and get things that we've been doing in our lives and slowly put them into the D&D game. Tell me about what you've been up to, Cal.
Honestly, I've just been really trying to correct my sleep schedule.
Oh man, same.
Because it's been horrendous.
Same.
So I've been actually very successful at waking up at 9 or 10 o'clock and going to midnight. So other than that, I've just been doing odd jobs.
Someone in the chat summed it up. They gave the head of Vecna an immortal suit of armour and told it good luck. Pretty much.
TLDR.
Yeah, it is. Billy, what have you been up to over the last week?
So I've been at a LAN event, which has been really fun. So I've been spending time gaming and actually like my D&D character Green. I've been at a bar a lot, and yeah, just having a real good time. I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring as well because obviously that came out on Friday, so I've been kind of like dipping into that, which has been kind of like exciting and lovely, but also like, why do I hate myself?
Yeah, Elden Ring is one of those... I haven't played it yet. I've watched a load of videos. I'm super excited to get it. I am tempted to buy a PS5 just to get the PS5 version of Elden Ring and really play that. Cal, have you played it yet?
I did. In fact, my last stream was Elden Ring, and I don't know if any of you saw anything of that, but it was horrific.
Is it a good game, though?
I couldn't tell you. Trust me, I had... apparently an amalgamation of every possible issue that people have encountered in the game, and I had all of them.
Damn, was it on PC?
Literally, I've refunded the game after 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
It was borderline unplayable. So, for starters, you've probably heard that some people have been having FPS issues where it just stutters non-stop.
Yeah.
So, I was running it on a 3070 Ti and a 16-core Threadripper, and it was stuttering so badly that everything else, like it for some reason chewed through all 12 gigs of the GPU.
God damn, that's what I've got, so if you can't run it, I'm not going to be able to.
No, on minimum settings as well.
Oh, Jesus. Okay,
so, not only was it stuttering, I had trees, like, popping in the LODs, like, 5 feet in front of my face. Which means then they cast shadows directly on me as soon as I approach them. And don't get me started on the keyboard and mouse layout for keybinds. I have never seen such a mess.
Dark Souls has never been good keyboard and mouse, though.
No, but these issues carried on into controller. So, to start off, I couldn't create my character because the prompts came up telling me what to press on controller despite no controller being plugged in. And I was at a point where you couldn't click anything. You just had to confirm or deny an option. What do you think you'd press on keyboard to enter an option or exit an option?
I mean, I'd normally press either enter or E, because that's normally the correct one that's there.
So, I have never played a Souls game. Okay. This was my first, like, Souls-like experience. Nothing indicates that Q and E do anything.
Oh, right.
And then, so I picked my class, and then it says, it just came up, pick your body type, A or B. The pop-up came up covering the options on the actual screen. And I'm like, what does that mean? What's A or B? And they were like, it's basically male or female. I was like, and what's my reference for this? And they were like, oh, it's under the menu that's just opened.
Yeah, it's not well optimized for PC at all.
No.
Now, what I've been doing, and Billy, I want to get your opinion on this in a second. I've got a second channel called Strife Plays where I replay old video games. And I ask people to vote on the old video games to replay. And the game that I've been replaying for the last day, and the game that I'm working on the video of now, is the original Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone for PlayStation 1.
No. As soon as you said that, I can see Hagrid's face.
In the UK, we call it Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, but kind of globally they call it the Sorcerer's Stone. I didn't realise this. When Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone game came out, the game actually released one day before the film did. The game released on the 15th of November 2001. The film came out on the 16th. So the game was available like 3 hours before the film was viewable. The game is actually different on PC, GameCube, PlayStation 1, Game Boy Advance, and Game Boy Color. They've all got the same title, but they're all different games. The game on PC is completely different to the game on PlayStation 1. Same genre, third-person adventure, but PC, way better, and PlayStation 1, utter crap. I
played it on PS1.
It's bad.
Yeah, me too. I feel hard done by now to know that I could have had a slightly better experience on PC.
Well, I finished the entire game and it was absolutely terrible. It was really bad.
Okay, great.
I'm just going to go through the entire thing and just say this is a ridiculously bad game. Billy, do you have any old video games that you would like to share your love of with us that I can put on my list and play and make you unhappy?
Oh, do you know what? I love Golden Axe. It's one of the first games that I remember playing, and it just riding the dragons and like breathing fire at all the enemies, and then like just trying to chase after those damn goblins with the bloody sacks. I can see where the punching comes from Green now. They're just so annoying, and I just love that game. It's just so fun.
Golden Axe was a classic. There's a retro game thingy being set up in Insomnia, so if we can get them to set Golden Axe up, we will definitely play some multiplayer Golden Axe. I mean,
Love to.
talk us through your video game kind of career, if you will, Billy. I'd love to hear what games you started on and what games you're playing now, and what games you love and what games you hate.
Sure. So like, I don't remember the first game I ever played, but definitely like Golden Axe, Age of Empires, was on the PC. I played that a lot. And then I had a Game Boy, which I have somewhere behind me. And I played Pokemon Blue, which I've just got here, if you guys can see that on screen.
Which starter did you
That
choose?
was my first Pokemon. Do you know what? I don't remember. I don't remember. And what I do remember is that I didn't really understand what was going on. Okay, like I would play the game, then I would restart it again because I would get lost and confused about where I was because my attention span was like so small. I'd be like, what was I doing again? I don't know. Let's start again, and I'd pick a different person every time.
Sorry, Hannah, let's just go back. You don't remember what Pokemon you chose at the start of Pokemon Red or Blue?
No.
That's like a defining moment in someone's life.
I know.
Yeah.
Cal, you're with me on this one. That's a super important
Oh,
moment.
God, yeah. Everybody remembers what they picked.
Wow.
I had a different experience to everyone else for sure.
And you say you had a low attention span, so you just kept restarting the Pokemon games.
Yeah, because I would like put it down because I would like be playing like on another console, and then I'd come back to it and be like, oh yeah, I'm playing Pokemon. Where am I? What am I supposed to do? And I'd end up just like going through some long grass and like constantly dying. I'm like, okay, I'm clearly obviously not supposed to go that way. I'm really confused. Just restart the whole game again, and the cycle would continue.
Okay. So what else? What games? Are there any games that you think you should like but you actually hate? Any games that you've been told, oh this is
Stardew
amazing?
Valley. Everyone loves Stardew Valley. Can't stand it. It's not for me. It's another one that I don't know what's going on. What am I supposed to do? How do I plant a turnip? What do I do with the turnip? There's people to romance. Like, what?
I want that on a t-shirt. What do I do with the turnip? There's people to romance. What a brilliant double sentence. Cal, you're a fan of the... it's not Stardew Valley you've been playing recently. It's a different game, but you've been really enjoying it, haven't you? The kind of farming one.
Sunnyside, I think, is the game you're on about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a current early access game that was kickstarted. It's like a Japanese farming simulator. I really love it. It's just such a chill. It's a bit like Stardew Valley in the sense of farming, but aside from that, there's actually quite a lot of like story in there, which is the main thing that really captured me on that, because I do love a good story, and I usually stay away from the farming games because they don't really have much of a story.
Yeah.
It's normally just you are here, grow something, people will like you.
Yeah, so let's... When we meet, Billy, I won't force you to play Stardew Valley. Are there any other games that many people like that you don't like? Because I hate The Sims. I really don't like it.
Do you know what? I've never really, except for Stardew Valley, which I really didn't get along with, I've never really had a game that I thought, I really don't like that. I guess I feel like for people who maybe like a lot of RPGs and like more fantasy style, I feel like I stay away from sports games and racing games.
Everyone hates sports games.
I am just terrible at them. I would love to be good at racing. I think it's like really cool to be able to like, do all the quick corners and like have all the like the knowledge of like how to put what tires, pressure to use, and all that kind of stuff. I haven't got a clue. No. I like playing Forza, but like that's such a difference to like the, I guess, like more like competitive kind of racing that goes on nowadays. And I'm just like, I'm in awe of it, but I hate it because I can't do it.
I think everyone collectively hates sports games. I think we've all just... When a sports game releases, I don't think anyone even acknowledges it anymore. Like when a new FIFA comes out... Yeah, no one even cares. Like a new FIFA or a new Madden or a new whatever sports game has come out, everyone's just like, no one particularly cares about that. So Billy, we know you're a big Witcher 3 fan.
Yeah.
Anything else that you're hugely into?
I love the Borderlands. Borderlands is just so good. I'm really excited for obviously like Tiny Tina is coming out soon. Yes. So I'm just like, I am desperate to get my hands on that because again, they did the DLC where you get to do Dungeons and Dragons with Tiny Tina, and that was just absolutely fantastic. So I'm just like so excited for more of that kind of style of gaming because I don't really know what it's going to be like. Also, did you know there's a movie? There's a Borderlands movie.
I've heard they're working on it.
Yeah. There's some really good people in it as well. Like,
I did not know this at all.
Yeah.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
Blow some minds.
Here's an interesting thing. The voice actress that played Tiny Tina also plays Aloy in the Horizon games.
Really?
I didn't realise that. I knew of her. But yeah, she does Tiny Tina and she does Aloy. She's done incredibly well. If we go through, she's done just so much stuff. She was in Team Fortress 2 as well. She was in the Life is Strange games, Mortal Kombat games, Fallout 4. There's so much stuff that she was in. It was just, she's done incredibly well for herself. I
had a realization like that recently with an actor. You know the actor that played the main guy in Split? Well, I say the main guy. The many main people in the film Split. Mm-hmm. I didn't realise that was Mr. Tumnus.
Range, man. Range.
What?
Yeah.
Narnia?
Yeah, Narnia. That he played Mr. Tumnus. Dead serious.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Okay.
See, I was actually reading something a couple of days ago. There is a big difference between what they call a star actor and a character actor. Now, a star actor is someone who just plays themselves. You put them in a film and you want them in the film. You know, you're Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. You put Dwayne Johnson in the film, it's because you want Dwayne Johnson in your film. A character actor is when you put an actor in the film because you need them to be someone different, like Gary Oldman. You put Gary Oldman in a film, you get the character specifically. Now, I watched, as the rest of the world did, Encanto recently. Have you seen Encanto yet, Cal?
No, I heard the music and it really annoyed me, so I didn't watch it.
Have you seen Encanto, Billy?
Yes, I did. I enjoyed it.
Cal, have you seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
No. I actually, no. I have watched a few episodes of it, but, like, I've not watched it all.
Well, the actress that plays Rosa Diaz, you know, the really angry Spanish cop.
Yeah.
That's the main character in Encanto. She does the voice acting and the singing.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, she's really talented. She's incredible. I didn't realise that. I was watching all of Encanto and I thought, who are these people? So I looked at the voice act and I'm like, no! Rosa Diaz sings the family madrigal in that. That's incredible. Yeah.
I did not know that.
That is
it's really
range,
awesome.
Man. Yeah, Rosa's voice, Rosa Diaz's voice, is the voice that she puts on to sound tough and badass all the time. Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? It's really something. You guys can look it up. It's absolutely amazing.
Someone in chat saying this, and I didn't know this, and it might not be true. Darth Vader was voiced by Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince.
It's much more. So hang on, wasn't Darth Vader done by James Earl Jones? But there was a thing because David Prowser, was it David Prowser? Because David Prowser played Darth Vader in the suit, and he was actually super pissed off at this. When they first filmed Star Wars, David Prowse, or Prowse, however you pronounce it, wears the suit and he speaks the lines. And no one told him when the film came out, oh, by the way, we've redubbed all of your audio with James Earl Jones. People in the chat are saying, however, that the other one was Shredder. The Uncle Phil did Shredder in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, wow.
Shredder.
Isn't it weird that you just find these things actors that you don't expect to be in one place and they end up being really good?
You can't hear it in your head, can you? You can't like separate like what you know of one person to then like how are you that person? That's so different. That's like got to be a totally different person.
Yeah.
I've just been told I've been baited by chat. It wasn't true.
You have been baited.
I mean, I thought it seemed a bit odd because I hadn't heard about this.
Don't trust them.
No, I don't know why I ever trust them, to be honest. They're always wrong.
So what else has been going on? You know what? I've seen, Cal, I don't know if you've seen this, the amount of NFT and metaverse emails I've got has been going down slowly.
Yeah, in fact, they have been going down recently. But I think it's because some really big scams have taken place, like the Pixel one. Have you seen that?
No, what was that?
Oh, Christ. They raised $73 million. A random 21-year-old with no degrees, nothing. He's just an absolute nobody. And I don't mean that in a horrible way, but like he's got no credibility for what he's doing.
God.
And he said he was going to release this pixel-based, like, Pokemon metaverse. And they let you pre-mint the NFTs, and it basically says reveal coming soon. So you bought them sight unseen, right?
Right.
73 million. They revealed them yesterday, and I pissed myself laughing.
They're bad.
They automated it so that there's pixel grass on the floor, like 3D pixel grass.
Oh God, I've seen those.
They pulled in the models. Yeah, that was from Pixelmon. They pulled in the models and just had it automatically taking screenshots of the models in the grass. And there are some incredible cock-ups in there, such as one of the models was a dragon and its pivot point was on its side. So some poor bugger got a $10,000 sideways dragon in the grass. And then there were other ones.
Gosh.
There were other ones that they didn't realize the scale of the model was just so small. So like you'd got this ugly monkey that was tilted slightly backwards, so he's staring up at the sky, looking like he's asking for help from someone, just drowning in the grass.
I was reading, it's the amount of money that you can make from people, because people have a desire. You find what people's desire is, you make money from it. If people's desire is to make money and you convince them that your NFT or crypto scam is going to work, then they'll go into it. But I saw another one. There was a girl, it was I was scrolling through Twitter or something and a news thing popped up. Girl, 19, drops out of university, makes $2 million a year pretending to be a giant on OnlyFans. Apparently there's a big fetish thing for like really, when I say giant, I mean like taller than a city. So she's got this model of a city with like a camera and a fisheye lens. You know when it looks like King Kong style stuff?
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, she just kind of like slowly stamps over small model cities and steps on Lego men and just pretends to be absolutely huge. And she's making $2 million a year. It's a strange fetish thing. It's a giantess.
I'm 5'8". I can do that.
Fetish. I was going to say, we can send you some Lego if you want to.
I need to make a small city.
Yeah, if
I'm in the wrong business here.
We all
this
are.
3D printer needs to be put to better use. I'm going to make little cities.
Print a city, Billy. You're free. This is the start of something,
the
guys.
best collaboration.
Brilliant. Attack of the 50-Foot Woman was definitely a fetish film. Very true. Very true.
Can't disagree with that.
What I am looking forward to is, and we'll have to be wrapping it up in a second, because we've been streaming for 2 hours. You know that D&D game was an hour and a half long. That flew by for me. That went really fast.
It was so good. I was like, what's next? What's next? I want to know where it's going.
Can you imagine how crazy it's going to be when we get Rage on as well? Because I know she is a dramatic person.
Oh yeah,
Rage is. She
They're
is
gonna
very
have
theatrical.
to like drag us out of that arena, aren't they?
Well, when Chris said to me, "Hey Josh, we want you to run a D&D game on stage. It's only going to be about 30 minutes long." I looked at Chris and I went, "Oh no, it's not. No, it's going to be a lot longer than 30 minutes." But I'm super looking forward to it. I'm genuinely looking forward to running a game, to meeting anyone that's going to be there.
Yeah.
Apparently, the audience is only going to be 80 people. That's the maximum the room can hold.
Yeah, 8-0.
I really think we're going to have more than 80 people.
You have to bring like a cup
Yeah.
against the wall to try and get the content.
Yes, I told Chris we're going to need at least an hour, 2 hours maybe. We'll see how well it goes, but it's going to be fun. So, Billy, thank you so much for finding time in your schedule to join us today.
Thank you for having me. I've had such a good time. I love D&D so much. It makes me happy. So thank you for that.
Can I just ask, is that a very small llama looking out from behind you?
Yeah, I have another one over here as well. And
Josh, where's your?
I was going to say, I'm the only person who isn't. Cal, do you actually want to know a secret? Do you want to know where my chair back is? I threw my chair away. You know my gamer chair?
What are you sitting on?
You mean the
duct
tape chair?
I threw my squatting. Yeah, I've got thighs of steel.
He's gone full slav for the last 2 hours.
I have. My thighs, my quads are just on fire right now. But no, I threw my chair away and I bought an actual proper comfortable bucket chair that I've been sitting in. Turns out that gamer chairs are actually not very good for sitting in for long periods of time. So I've bought a comfortable chair now, and the great thing is it still spins. So when someone walks in, I can still...
You just need a cat now.
She's on the bed. She's asleep. She's an old girl.
Perfect.
But so if you're going to be at Insomnia, please contact us on Discord. If you want to support what Billy does as well, on the screen right now there is the YouTube link, Billietrixx, there is the Twitch link, there is the Twitter link, and there is the Fan House link where people are able to show their support, and it's going really well, and I hope it continues to go well, and I hope Insomnia it's only like a month away now, isn't it? Super promising.
The costume that I've already got my design in my head. I'm going to start making it.
Okay, it's going good. Billy, what have you got coming out this week as far as YouTube or Twitch goes? Do you have any kind of schedule or events that you've got planned that we can all look forward to?
Yeah, absolutely. So on Wednesday, I'm jumping into Elden Ring and basically like trying to learn it a bit more because obviously I'm just a level 10 scrub at the moment. So I'm like trying to go about the land and not be absolutely defeated by that bastard on a horse. I will get him. I'm going to hand his face to him one day.
Yeah.
Then on Friday, I'm going to be doing some Witcher 3 and then playing some multiplayer Halo games with chat in the evening as well because Halo is also just
your chat can get involved with Halo with you.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Please carry me because I can't aim and I'm terrible.
That's why we stream. We stream so people better than us can help us get through. Cal, what have you got coming up for the next week?
So, on the contrary to to Billy, I've got a video coming out about the awful launch for some people of Elden Ring. That's going to be tomorrow. Just going over what I've covered today and so much more, because it's a rabbit hole of issues. Aside from that, I'll be streaming again tomorrow. Also, probably playing Halo multiplayer. Weirdly, so that's pretty much me. And I haven't got any plans for Friday yet, but I'm sure I will.
Sounds good. I've got the Was It Good Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone that I'm working on.
See that.
Mate, it's terrible. The game was so bad. I finished
Please
it in a
say
day.
Hagrid is in it.
Oh, he is in it. I've got some close-ups of Hagrid, don't you worry.
Yes.
I finished all the Quidditch games as well, which are just really bad. It's so badly designed. Well, I looked into the lead developer and see what he went on to do afterwards, and his whole career is like Mary-Kate and Ashley, the game, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, the game. It's just games of
games.
It's brand games of crap Disney TV shows.
So his career is just decimating franchises.
Pretty much. You give this guy a tween-age Disney Channel program, and he makes you a game of it. So that's kiddie IP games, pretty much. But he seems to be doing well for himself as far as making games goes. He's made hundreds of them. But I've got that coming out. I'm not sure which worst MMO I'm going to do this week. I pissed off the Digimon community last week, so I'll decide what I'm going to annoy this week. Tickets are selling out for Insomnia super fast. You can find them at the website for Insomnia. I haven't got it to hand, so it's just type in Insomnia.
Their website's not the most intuitive name.
It's bad. It's a bad website. Anyway, we are going to head off. It's been 2 hours. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone from Cal's chat and Billy's chat as well. Billy, once more, thank you very much for playing D&D with us.
Yes.
Thank you for having me, guys. It's been great.
Right,
it's been a pleasure.
Everyone have a lovely night, and we will see you on Wednesday or Saturday. Take care, good night, and God bless.
Yeah, thank you to my chat. I'll see you all tomorrow.